Who are you?
I'm Leigh Bennie. Thank you for downloading A Word on Psychology on 702 and Cape Talk. All the A Word on shows are available as a podcast when you visit 702.co.za or capetalk.co.za.
Choose to make a positive impact. Lead essay.
You're listening to A Word on Psychology.
5 minutes past 8 o'clock. A very good evening to you. My name is Leigh Bennie. There is a certain unfounded myth that is doing the rounds and has been doing the rounds for many years now, that women are the only ones who have mood swings. It's generally thought, and generally if we do look at the sexes, women are supposedly the complicated and emotional ones. Men are the rational ones. They're not prone to unpredictable behavior. They're not prone to these swings of mood from up to down. They're supposed to be steady. Well, this is in fact not the case. And as I've read, when it is the case, it's not necessarily a healthy thing. Tonight, we're going to be talking about men and their moods. We're going to be looking at it from the point of view of men, why the moods, if you are experiencing mood swings, why perhaps you are experiencing mood swings, and how to help yourself. And of course, to women, one of the $1 million questions is, when my man goes quiet, what is he thinking? Well, we're going to try and decipher how to read these moods. And to help us, I'm joined in studio by psychiatrist Dr. Jeeva. Lovely to have you with us.
Thanks
for coming in, Doc.
Thanks a lot.
So now, you read articles that are written by scientists, that are written by psychiatrists, psychologists, and written by lay people of both sexes. Are men as moody as women?
Well, men are supposed to be less moody, but according to the statistics, things are changing. In the age over 40, men are slightly more moody than women. So we have to stop blaming the guys, blaming women with PMS and other things. So we got some exciting things today to show you and tell you. Actually, I was even surprised myself when I was reviewing some of the things that's coming up.
Okay, so that is where we're going to go. Over 40, that's when they become moody, apparently, and irritable. Let's not forget the irritable. Yeah?
Big thing. We'll show you all the symptoms. You mentioned something interesting that when women, when they suddenly get quiet, what does it mean? Or when men suddenly get quiet? Because women usually complain that he just won't talk to me, and there's some reason to that. So what are they thinking, the two sexes? It's when a woman tends to get quiet, she's usually either hurt or lied to, something that the husband or somebody said. But if when a man goes quiet, a woman assumes that his silence indicates that he is upset about something. Actually, men, on the other hand, stop communicating when they have a problem to solve, because they want to have some action.
They're working through it in their head.
Yes.
And that is. And then we turn around and
that's a
say,
long time to ask what's wrong.
What you thinking?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So we should at that time say, why can't a woman be more like a man instead of like the old song? And men withdraw so to protect themselves, and to say what you're thinking at that time will teach you when is the best time of the day for women to get favors out of men during their moods. We got it down the line later on during the show today.
Well, now you see, this is one of the things that I was actually reading about men and their moods and why they go quiet. And obviously there's, that old cowboys don't cry, and it's a little bit unfair, the kind of macho men we see in the movies. And a lot of men are trying to live up to that. But the other side that I read was, back in the days where the men were the hunters, they couldn't let emotion get in the way. So they had to shut everything down while they were out hunting.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
Kind of why they can shut down the way they do, and why they do go silent and almost bury it all, because they need to be aware of the predators.
Yeah, because they say basically men act and women talk. I don't want to say women talk too much, but women talk, and basically this gets them into trouble. And men's brains are wired for action, so whenever there's a problem, we want to fix things instinctively. And they would rather appreciate if the partner doesn't talk at that time, and women can't understand. Actually, today I had a patient, and he said that he was in Kenya, and his wife phoned him in an emergency. She said, my mom is in Durban, I'm here, and the house next to us is on fire, so what must I do? And he was wondering what, he's all the way in Kenya, what can he do to a fire here in Bedford View? So, and he said, oh God, look at her, what is she saying, So that's how men think, very straight and not correct all the time, but that's we think differently, not tangentially, but in the end I think both sexes come out okay.
Yeah. Tell me, when we look at the causes of mood swings in men, are they the same? Are they ultimately, do they boil down to hormones?
Hormones is a big thing. It's very interesting because for years everybody knows about PMS and women certain times of the month, and there's the famous joke amongst men and also around menopause and again...
Only one famous joke.
Yes. But actually they did a study in Canada. It was interesting, and they used a lot of medications trying to see how can we overcome this PMS short period that everybody's complaining about. They used various drugs, and strange enough, this was in Hamilton, McMaster, Ontario, and they found that Prozac, which is slightly more into disrepute now than about 20 years ago, if you use Prozac or fluoxetine for 4 days before your menses and 4 days in the first, when you're menstruating in the second 4 days, then you have amazing results. And for some people who are struggling with that, that's not today's exact topic, but you could use that. It's just from a Hamilton study.
Personally, I think the fact that we have PMS is amazing in itself. I wouldn't want to dull it down. It's way too much fun. But yes, okay, so that is women. We generally say with women, the mood swings are related to our hormones. How about in men?
Well, it's also hormones, but it's interesting. It relates to the age. Generally, mood swings are hormonal imbalance also in males, but it's over the age of 40, and the two main hormones that come into play is number one, cortisol, which is usually the stress hormone when you're working hard and stressed, that increases, and cortisol related to steroids would increase the weight and make you sluggish. At the same time, the opposite side of the same pendulum is that when the cortisol level goes up, your testosterone levels go down. And one of the nurses on my floor today, Dr. Bucks on my floor, he does a lot of anti-aging medicine, she said testosterone is the whole answer to your talk tonight. I said, what are you talking about? But now that she says that certain times of the day the testosterone goes down, the cortisol goes up, and the cortisol goes up and makes men sluggish, and you feel like weight is put on and you feel slow and increases the body muscle, and then at the same time you have difficulty dealing with stress. And we seem to, as executives, physicians and others in the second part of our life, to have more difficulty with stress and mood swings and depression, whereas the typical genetic depression that's caused by genes or other reason is more under 40, and they would be treated by antidepressants. So here the treatment would not be antidepressants per se. It would have to be related to hormones like cortisol and testosterone, which is very exciting.